Hello, I'm Sarah. This is Hardcover Hearts, and I'm here with my pile of possibilities, my pop for March Mystery Madness. Now, I do two kind of mystery monthly reads. I love Cloak and Dagger Christmas. There's just something so fun about reading mysteries, and especially at that time of year. I don't know why, but I love it. And so then come January and February, I'm kind of mysteried out, and I kind of stop reading mysteries to a certain degree. But then March Mystery Madness comes, and I'm like, okay, I'm ready. Let's do this again. So here I am. I've got a selection of books here, and as I am wont to do, I don't promise to read any of these. I also don't promise to not read something else should it come up. But these are the ones that I have had, that I've wanted to read, and that are calling for me right now. So let's get straight into it. The first, this first one, so I like to study at Oxford during their summer session. They do a summer session. And I was going to take a class this year. I've since changed classes, but it was going to be a mystery kind of class where you read a bunch of different mysteries. But when I looked at the syllabus and the kinds of books that they were going to talk about, I just didn't feel like there was enough there to warrant spending my time in a class like that. But this was one of the books that I thought was interesting from that list. This is Love in Amsterdam, and this is the first of the Van der Valk novel by Nicolas Freeling. It's got a really good cover. I had to order this from the UK because I couldn't really get it in the United States. And it says on the back, a woman, Elsa, is brutally murdered in her Amsterdam apartment. Her ex-lover, Martin, is seen outside the building around the time of the crime. The witness who saw him, a policeman. It looks like a straightforward case, but Police Inspector Van der Valk is not convinced. Despite all the evidence and the fact that Martin originally denied that he was at the apartment, he believes that Martin is not guilty of the murder. So instead of charging him, Van der Valk takes him on a tour of the investigation, a tour of Martin's own past, and a tour into the darkly obsessive world of Elsa. So curious to read this. I haven't seen the series that they talk about, so this might open up a whole new world of books for me. If I was a betting woman, I would say this one is probably more likely to be read than any of the others, and that's because I loved the first one in this series. This book is Daughters of Night by Laura Shepard Robinson. And it's a nice chunkster of a book. It's set in London in 1782, and it says, Caroline Carroll Corsham discovers a well-dressed woman in the bowers of the Vauxhall Pleasure Garden, mortally wounded and alone. When the Bow Street constables unearth the identity of the dead woman, they cease to care entirely. However, Caro has motives of her own for wanting justice done, so sets out to solve the crime herself, enlisting the help of thief-taker Peregrine Child. Their inquiries throw them headlong into the deepest hidden corners of Georgian society, a world of artifice, deception, and secret lives. And with many men refusing to speak about their dealings with the dead woman and Caro's own reputation under threat, finding the killer will be harder and more treacherous than she can know. The reason I really wanted to read this is because of a book that I hope to put on your radar. I think it's still only available in the UK, but it is worth ordering. And this is Blood and Sugar by that same author, Laura Shepard Robinson. This is a mystery set in the UK outside of London, and also in 1781. And this deals straight on with slavery and the English slave trade, the sugar plantations, and abolitionists, and our main character, who was Caro's husband, is pulled into a mystery because an old friend of his old Oxford friend, has become very adamant about abolition of slavery and went there investigating something, and he thought he figured out a way to end slavery and to bring it to the forefront so that the outrage of the community would be so great that people would have to take notice and do something. and he got killed, as you can imagine, with a mystery story. And so he goes to find out from this town that's north of London. It's a port town, and very interestingly based on specific rules that are known but not talked about. This was fantastic, so I'm really looking forward to dive into the second one. And as you know, I love my historical mysteries, so here's another one that I bought when I was last in England. This is Lenora Nattrass's Black Drop, and just has such a great cover, And it says, July 1794, and London is filled with rumors of revolution. The war against the French is not going in Britain's favor, and negotiations with America are on a knife edge. Lawrence Jago, Foreign Office clerk, is ever more reliant on opium, the Black Drop, to cease his nightmares. A highly sensitive letter, whose contents could lead to the destruction of the British Army, have been leaked to the press, and Lawrence is a suspect. Then he discovers the body of a fellow clerk, a supposed suicide, and it seems clear where the blame truly lies. Lawrence alone is certain both of his friend's innocence and that he was murdered, but after years of hiding his own secrets from his powerful employers, can Lawrence find the true culprit without ending up on the gallows himself? Again, right up my alley, and I love reading books kind of set in the same time period. It's always fun. Here's something I've had for a while. This is Helen MacInnes's Above Suspicion, and this is kind of like a spy story. I'll show you the cover there. It says, Richard and Frances Miles are preparing for their annual European summer vacation in 1939 when they are visited at their Oxford college by an old friend, Peter Galt, who has a seemingly simple job for them. Galt asks if they would start their holidays in Paris, meet a man there, and then continue their journeys as he directs. But in the heightened atmosphere of pre-war Europe, nobody is above suspicion. In fact, the husband and wife are being carefully monitored by shadowy figures. Soon, the couple are racing across Europe and must use all their ingenuity to stay one step ahead of the enemy. That sounds so good. So here's another one that's a little further in time. This is London, 1850. This is Lily by Rose Tremain. I have been meaning to read Rose Tremain's work. I just haven't yet. So this might be the time that I start. This says, London, 1850. On a freezing winter's night, a baby is abandoned at the gates of a park, only to be saved by a young policeman and taken to the Foundling Hospital. After suffering years of brutal hardship at the hospital, Lily is released into the world of Victorian London, but she is hiding a dreadful secret. When Lily and the policeman meet again, Lily is convinced that he holds the key to her happiness. But might he also be the one to uncover her crime and so condemn her to death? Yeah, that sounds great. Then something a little different. This is a nonfiction book, but in this vein, and it's The Adventures of Maud West, Lady Detective, Secrets and Lies in the Golden Age of Crime, a Remarkable True Story by Susannah Stapleton. Really fun cover there. Let's see if I can catch the glint of the light there. This one says, a woman far ahead of her time, Maud West opened her detective agency in London in 1905. She sleuthed for society's finest and wrote up her exploits in newspaper articles that grab headlines throughout the world. But was she really who she said she was? In this enthralling true story, Susannah Stapleton interweaves tales from Maud's own casebook with social history and extensive original research, forensically examining the stories that Maud West told about herself in a quest to uncover the truth. The Adventures of Maud West, Lady Detective is a deliciously salacious glimpse into the reality of being a female private detective in the golden age of crime. So it feels like this is a good thing to have read. So we're going to leave kind of England and move over to Ireland. And this is a great series. I loved the first one. This is S.G. MacLean's A Game of Sorrows. The first one was the Redemption of Alexander Seaton. I loved it. That was set in Inverness. Mel from Mel's Bookland Adventure, and I think she goes by Melanie Martin now. I'll put a link to her channel below. Has the best recommendations. She may even have recommended the Helen MacInnes. and loves this author. So I want to continue with this series. I put it down, not meaning to stay away this long. Let me read the back for you. It is 1628. Charles I is on the throne, and the British crown is finally taking control of Ulster. Returning to his rooms one night, Alexander Seaton is shocked to find a stranger standing there, a man who could be his double. He is Sean O'Neill and carries a plea for help from Maeve O'Neill, matriarch of Alexander's mother's family in Ireland. All those who bear their blood have been placed under a curse. One by one, they're going to die. Only Alexander is immune, his O'Neill heritage a secret from all but his closest family. In Ulster, Alexander finds himself at the heart of a family divided by secrets and resentments. As he seeks out the author of the curse, he becomes embroiled in the conflict until, confronted by murder within his own family, his liberty and even his life are at stake. Oh, sounds so great. And that woman can write. She can create a sense of place, the tension, the protocols and rules of engagement for those types of environments. She's phenomenal. Then let's go to India. This is Vaseem Khan's Midnight at Malabar House. Great cover here. And this one says, Bombay, New Year's Eve, 1949. As India celebrates the arrival of a monumentous new decade, Inspector Percy Swadia stands vigil in the basement of Malabar House, home to the city's most unwanted unit of police officers. 6 months after joining forces, she remains India's first female police detective, mistrusted, sidelined, and now consigned to the midnight shift. And so, when the phone rings to report the murder of a prominent English diplomat, Sir James Harrod, the country's most sensational case falls into her lap. Accompanied by Scotland Yard criminologist Archie Blackfinch and navigating a country and society in turmoil, smart, stubborn Percy's must find a way to solve the murder, whatever the cost. So it sounds very, very good. I saw this book in a collection of prize shortlist, and I remember seeing this when I was in England. I originally wanted to buy it in Edinburgh for like a 3 for 2, but didn't want to pack down my suitcase, so I said, oh, I'll wait until I get it in London. And when I got to London, I couldn't find it for 3 for 2, so I ended up waiting and got it at the last moment at Heathrow's. So I hope it was worth all of that. This is Saima Mir's The Khan. It's a great title. Successful London lawyer Gia Khan is a long way from the northern streets she knew as a child, where her father, Akbar Khan, led the Pakistani community and ran the local organized crime syndicate. Under his Jirga rule, the old way was violent and bloody, but it always was a justice of a kind. Now with her father murdered, Gia must return to take his place. Justice needs to be restored, and Gia is about to discover that justice always comes at a cost. So that's my pile of possibilities. I would love to know, have you read any of these? What were your thoughts? Is there anything along these lines that you think I would enjoy that I haven't mentioned or linked to below? Please let me know. And if you enjoy mysteries, I hope you are excited for March Mystery Madness, at least as much as I am. So that's it for me for now. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.